I don't know why.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Shot Science Overtime. This is number 108.
Wow.
Yeah, we're getting up there. I think we are surprised by it every week. But I just want to remind you guys, this is our live show. This is not our regular videos that we put on YouTube, but we do this every week, 1 p.m. Pacific time on Sundays. And, we like to start off with a topic that we think is going to help you guys with, developing your game or making you a better player, or maybe making you feel better about what you're doing. So we're going to get to that in just a second. But while we're doing that, I want you guys to send us your questions. So if you have anything basketball related that you want us to talk about or address, then just send it to us. And it can be about shooting, dribbling, passing, defense, how to talk to your coach, training, conditioning, whatever. Just let us know and we'll try our best to answer that for you guys and, give you our perspective. So send us your questions. And while you're at it, please go out and tell your friends and family to watch the show and check us out, because if you do that, it helps us get more cool guests on. In the past, we've had the professor on, we've had Danny Green from the San Antonio Spurs, we've had college coaches, we've had coaches that help get kids into college programs. So if you want more people like that, help us out and help grow the team. So tell your friends and family. That'd be awesome. Okay, so our topic for today is the season's over. Now what? What do you do? We work with kids in the off season and during the season, but we kind of have our opinions on the best approach. And one of the first things we would say, and we both agree on it because we just talked about it, is that you should do what?
We should take some time off.
Yeah, just a break.
Yeah, just take a break. It's good for just mentally to kind of step away from basketball for a little bit. And the time we would make that. We would not say that should be an extended amount of time, but maybe a week or two. Just kind of get away from it and leave the basketballs alone. And then when you start feeling a little bit rejuvenated, then we step back into it.
Well, it helps you do several things, because it'll help you kind of, mend your body, because usually
that's true, because the body takes a beating.
Yeah. Usually you're playing in your games, you're practicing, you're hopefully working on your development on your own and everything. Right. And sometimes you just need to take a little break and let your body recover.
Very true.
And also it helps you in a mental way as well, because maybe you need to just clear your head. Maybe you need to kind of get the itch back again, maybe a little bit, where because if you're constantly just doing basketball to do basketball, sometimes you need to get kind of that period where you're yearning to play a little bit more or something.
Yep.
So just taking like a week off, maybe 2 if you need it. But, just take a little bit of time. And, people freak out. Oh, I'm going to lose everything. Yeah. That's not how it works. You might get a little rusty, but your body's going to be in better shape because you gave it time to recover.
Right.
And you're going to put the work into it to be right back where you were and pushing it probably to a much better place afterwards, after you kind of get that back. But all that muscle memory should be there, and so you're not going to lose everything at all.
Yeah, that's really true. I'm not a real opponent either to taking some time off toward the last part of the season as well. Not weeks, but oftentimes we'll give our players days off in between games. We have a game on Tuesday and Friday, we'll give them Wednesday off, so they can kind of have a chance to recover and kind of stay fresh too. One of the things that happens to us is that we just get so ground down after 3 months of basketball or 4 months of basketball. Then you mentally begin to kind of be stressed out a little bit, and physically certainly. And so it's a good idea to take those rests once in a while. But I think at the end of the season, it's really good, like Casey's saying, just for the physical part of it, but I think also for the mental part of it, that you can kind of let your brain rest for a while and step away from it, and even do some other things. But then, at some period, I would say, a week or two or whatever feels good to you, then get right back into it. And maybe not pushing really hard at the beginning, just kind of ease yourself back into it, and then get yourself into a program that is organized. One of the things that I think—
Well, hold on. I think what you really need to work on too, or think about when you're doing this, is the fact that you're not losing a whole bunch.
No.
Your body, it's actually going to be kind of crazy, because I can almost guarantee you that you'll come back and you'll feel super refreshed.
Yeah.
And your body will feel good.
Yeah.
You'll be moving and much more effortlessly, just because you've given yourself that time. And, it's just like if you're doing any kind of training, you don't train and grind yourself down every single day doing the same stuff. But if you're playing basketball, you're doing a lot of the same movements, a lot of the same impact on your joints and everything. And if you give yourself just a little bit of time to let that kind of heal and mend, you'll be surprised at how you come back. It'll just feel like you're springy and you're ready to go. Obviously, you don't want to wait a month or a month and a half. I mean, that's kind of excessive. But if you just give yourself a little bit of time, you'll be good. Okay, so if you take that little break, maybe while you're doing that, you can kind of be looking for the next step, which is what?
Well, the next step is how can I improve my game as I get ready for the next year that I'm going to be playing. And it kind of depends on where you are. If you're at the end of the line for yourself, certainly there's not too much of a consideration. But let's say you're an underclassman, either in high school or maybe middle school or even in college. Then you want to be thinking about, okay, what were my weaknesses this last season? And one of the things that kind of just popped into my brain that I think probably is really worthwhile is take and sit down with your coach or who you think may be your coach the next year, and just take and have them chat with you about areas that you should improve on. Oftentimes we go as players and we don't really have a sense, except maybe a few things about what we need to work on. And so if you have a coach take and say, okay, these are the 3 or 4 things that I think would really help you as a player for next year, then that gives you a focus where you can really kind of arrange your practices for that. Now, hang on, let me run this by. I had this conversation with a young student yesterday, a young player yesterday, and one of the things that we talked about is this: you need to really not substitute just playing games for actually practicing and trying to improve your skill level. One of the things that happens is that some people take that getting into your game for the next year, that means that you go play more. Well, certainly play more if you can, but spend time on developing your skills. Casey and I were just talking a few minutes ago about European players. We were watching a little NBA, and we saw this great move to the basket. And Casey's comment, well, that guy is typical European player. Well, he is. And so the reason though they are really effective in a lot of those situations, because they have spent time developing those moves or skills that make them better in the NBA game. But that's true most everywhere. Another friend of mine was kind of talking about how post players are so what's the word?
Unskilled.
Unskilled, not so much unskilled, but they don't really spend very much time on developing skills where they can attack the basket and the defender to be effective.
Well, they rely on physicality.
They rely on physicality, and so much you see this so much. A guy gets the ball and he's just outside the low block, and he immediately starts to back his guy down. He bumps into him, and the guy has to give ground. And then finally he turns on the basket and they call a foul on the defense. We don't really understand that. But that is the power, the physicality, the shackness of basketball at the low post is one of the things that is kind of not really so much a part of the European game. They have skills.
Well, here's the thing: is that if you have the skills in place, if you're just talking about the post, you're going to be able to generate a lot of things that are more beneficial than just getting a foul. You're going to be able to get the basket and probably the foul as well, or you're going to get the basket, or you're going to set up a teammate, or whatever it is. But if you're just relying on blasting some guy, that's, I don't think that's the best approach. But here's the other thing. You were talking about coaches and having somebody observe you. A lot of times if you live in this bubble and you're only thinking about yourself and you're overthinking everything and you're not really observing what you're doing or what your game looks like from, outside of your own observations, sometimes you get it into your mind that things are maybe some way that they really aren't. There's like a different reality going on.
Yeah, truly.
So if you have somebody else to come look at it and check you out, make sure that person is the right person. You don't want to just ask somebody because they say that they're a great so-and-so. Have somebody that you respect and they have kind of the accolades and stuff to have that observation for you. Check it out. And then they can have, a positive impact on how you approach your skill development from there. And then the other thing is that when you go into the off season and you're looking at developing your skills, you need to have a plan. You can't just go into it and think, okay, I'm going to play games and I'm going to work on my shot. And yeah, I mean, that's not really a solid plan. You have to know, okay, I'm going to do on this day, I'm going to work on my form shooting, and I'm also going to get some game speed in. I'm going to get a quick couple games in on Thursday, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to work on my ball handling. I mean, you need to have like a really specific plan where you're going in there, you're knocking all these different things out, and doing it for a reason. And the other thing too is that we were talking about the post players and stuff like that. If you work on developing those skills, you're going to gain much more ground than you are if you're just going to go and play a bunch of games. And, in the news lately, a lot of people, like Jay Billis and people like that have been talking about how to play, or the focus is too much on gameplay and not enough on skill development when it comes to young players. And so, you go, all these guys play on their AAU teams and they play, hundreds of games a year, and then their bodies are worn out. And by the time they get to these higher levels of basketball, they can't even play without getting injured because they've played way too much and haven't worked necessarily on their skill development or on their conditioning.
Well, and they rely so much on their athleticism and strength.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying, is that if you focus on the skill development, you're going to find yourself kind of further along than you would be if you just had worked on or just had been focusing on games, because you'll have like this tool set or this arsenal of things that you can do instead of just relying on your game experience, which is also important. But you need to have a very comprehensive, balanced approach to your game, I think, and that's going to take you much further. Yeah. And the other thing is too, is that if you're not as athletically gifted or physically gifted as some of these other guys, you'll be able to neutralize that with your skills and your abilities. Yep. Because you put in the work there, they haven't. They're relying on their physical attributes. So you might have an upper hand in that sense. And that's where people like Steve Nash, Steph Curry, Chris Paul, all these guys, they are physically gifted, but they're also going up against guys that are a foot taller than them, and they're still able to be the best players out on the floor because they put in the work on their skills.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah. And now, one of the thoughts that occurred to me when Casey was talking about talking with people that can help you, this is kind of humorous. Oftentimes I'll have players who will say, well, yeah, so-and-so's dad was telling me that I should do this. And my hackles go up right away because, well, who is this dad? And well, he played high school basketball, and well, in reality, he probably is not the best guy for you to be listening to. What you want to do, as Casey mentioned, is find people that know your game, and they can help direct you where you need to go. Otherwise, you might spend a whole bunch of time not really being able to improve your game if you're going in the wrong direction. So make sure that the expertise that you get is from somebody who knows the game and understands what they're talking about, because not every father who played once has a great grasp on basketball.
Well, focus on people that have helped people move on to the next level, or people that work with player development all the time. Don't just let anybody talk to you. Even some people you might assume are in the know, or they coach a traveling team or whatever. A lot of those guys don't know what the heck they're talking about either. And that kind of leads me into the next part before we kind of wrap this up, is that when you're looking for a team to play on, and we've talked about this with coaches that help kids with getting into college programs, and they have like their own traveling teams or club teams, is that you need to do some background on those people, so that when you go out there and you're trying to find a team to play on, you're not just signing up with the most popular person, or you're signing up with the guy that has the best elevator pitch. Yeah.
Well, and has the best contract with some of the different shoe companies, stuff like that, because all of that that's not really a real evaluation of.
Or they're playing the most games, or they're going to the most tournaments. I mean, that's not the worst thing you can do. Yeah. Try to find, and this is something that the real coaches will tell you. Find the teams and coaches that are going to focus on skill development. They're not just going to throw you into a bunch of games. They're going to actually help you develop. Focus on the ones that have actually, helped get players of all different abilities and levels get into the next level. Right. Not guys that just get people in the Division I programs or get guys into the pros or whatever. Find people that actually want to help all types of players get into Division III, Division II, Division I, the NBA, JUCO, whatever. find those people. Those are the ones that you want to be working with because they actually care. They're not just about getting the draft picks or whatever in there,
Yeah.
And then find people that actually have a basketball background in coaching and stuff like that as well. And they're not just guys that decided they wanted to start a traveling team or they wanted to woo brands or whatever it is. Find the people that are actually focused on helping players, right?
Yes. So a question that comes to my mind, how do you do that?
Well, you do a very vigorous internet background search. You ask people and
people that have played maybe for this particular person or organization is a really good place
I think
to start.
I think you do two things. One, you ask that coach or team to send you recommendations or people references that you can call and talk to them or email or whatever and have them get back to you, but also do a little bit of your own investigation, find other people that have played that they aren't necessarily recommending and talk to those people too. And if you do that, you're going to find the right place for you. If you just go with whatever some guy is telling you or some woman is telling you, and you're not doing your own due diligence in figuring out what's best for you, you're going to find yourself getting burned. And that happens a lot.
It does. I can remember a couple of local girls that played at a school where they were really kind of trying to get them to come and play all these different come-ons and whatnot. And then they got there and it was a total bust. They didn't go to the tournaments they said they were going to go to. They focused on the coach's daughter as the star of the team, and she never left the game. And so there are things like that that you need to know about when you go to a club team. Who is this person? A quality person? Is this person really interested in everybody and not just his daughter or son? Those are really good questions to ask and find out about.
Yeah, and the thing about it is that you can find yourself in a really crap situation and then you'll lose all that time. Maybe you'll get irritated or bummed about just the game in general. You won't want to play. And if you had done a little bit of work, you might have found the perfect situation where you are able to grow as a basketball player. For us, that's one of the things we focus on. My dad has really worked a lot with, specific groups of people here in our area that are focused on that. And all around, there's other people doing other things that are not so great. And if you guys are more interested in that, go check out our interviews and live shows with Coach Bob Bramlett and Al Grigsby,
Aaron
Wolitzko. These are people that are focused on skill development and helping you guys get better as players.
Right.
And if you're in the Bay Area, I think that next week, Coach Bob has a skill development camp.
Yes, he does.
So if you're in the Bay Area of California, you can go check out
West Valley basketball.
Yeah, West Valley basketball. I think I'll post a link or something on our Facebook page. But Coach Bob Bramlett and Al Grigsby, I think Lynn Washington is part of it too.
Yes, and Ruben. What's
Ruben Williams?
Ruben Williams.
So Coach Bob, he's an awesome coach for the local traveling team, club team.
Right.
He's helped get a bunch of guys into college programs and the pros.
Right.
Lynn Washington, he's a legendary Indiana Hoosier.
Right.
And he played pro basketball. Al, he's a legendary Cal Bear.
Yeah.
He's one of the 4 jerseys retired at Pauley Pavilion.
That's right. Not Pauley.
Haas Pavilion.
Yeah.
Right. And so if you guys if you're in the Bay Area, go check out that. I'll post it on our Facebook page. Right. That will really be a benefit for you.
And it's an outstanding tournament or
skill camp.
Really good.
And I mean, you can get better people running that. Okay. So I think that's going to wrap it up for our little topic today. If you guys want to send us your questions right now would be the time because we need questions. Usually we get a lot at the end. But if you want to get them in, leave them here on our YouTube stream here on the chat here that we're doing. You can send them to us on the Q&A on Google+. You can send them to us on Twitter, which would be great. We are at Shot Science there. Or Facebook is a good place. And maybe even Snapchat. I'll check out our Snapchat. We are just Shot Science, all one word on Snapchat. So add us there. Okay. So we're going to get into it. Go tell your friends and family. That helps. Okay. First question is from Zachy Merquitz in the chat here. He says, when I shoot, my form changes a lot. I can't keep it the same. How do I fix this?
Well, if your form is changing, then you probably do not have the mechanics of the shot at a muscle memory level. And one of the things you have to do is, and even if the mechanics are not totally correct, you need to establish the form and the muscle memory for that form so it's repeatable. You know, we don't often think about the fact that it has to be repeatable, that the fingers, the arm, everything has to be repeatable every time that you shoot the basketball. That's when you start to shoot with more effectiveness.
Repeatable and efficient.
Efficient and repeatable, and so often players don't get there. And one of the things that we do with our students is we give them homework, and the homework always has to do with using the form shooting drill, which you can find on our Shot Science channel, our YouTube channel. And the thing is that this is how you establish those mechanics, and we do it usually at short distances from the basket, and it's pretty easy to get into that. And then as you get better, then you move away from the basket a little bit. But that's how you get that consistency.
Yeah, it's just a progressive move back.
Yep.
Or sequence back.
Yeah.
And you master the close and you move back each time.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is that use the 3 pillars of practice. So get the diligent dialing in the first pillar, get the game speed, game intensity work in the second pillar, and then get the game experience where you apply all of that stuff that you learned from the first 2 pillars. And that's really important to have kind of a balanced approach in that sense. Using
Very
that.
true.
Okay, here's a Twitter question from our buddy Joseph Coombs, who is at Joseph Coombs1 on Twitter. He says, I play against people a lot older than me. I also play with my own age group at college. How do I play better against them?
Which them are we talking about? The kids at college, or
it doesn't matter. He plays against people that are older than him, and he just wants to know how does he play better against them? I think the thing that you need to focus on is your skill development, and then getting the game speed, game intensity practice in. And once you do that, you're going to find yourself when you step out on the floor, you've actually been there before. And it's not like you're just trying to wing it by stepping out there and not having that kind of background ready to go. So, work on your skill development. Make sure that when you're developing moves, whether it's a dribble attack or if it's a post move or if it's a, moving without the ball approach or whatever, make sure you have a counter to all those things so that you have 2 to 3 of those moves with a counter. If it's a dribble attack like a crossover, make sure you have the in and out dribble, or make sure you have the hesitation dribble. Those are both counters off of that attack. If you're doing a post move, have the jump hook where you also have the up and under, which is a counter off of that move. And so, and then also if you have, you're trying to get open on the post or on the wing, if you're running out to the perimeter, make sure that you know how to do a backdoor move. I mean, you just want to have a counter so that you can always keep the defensive person on their heels. And the thing about us, we always focus on telling people that you need to be the one in control, so that whether you're on offense or defense, you're making the person opposed to you react to you. It's not that you're reacting to them. They are always reacting to you. Okay.
All right.
Hopefully that'll help you. Johnny Justice in the chat says, I need to know, is it possible to gain 5 to 10 inches of vertical by December 2015? Well,
that's a good question.
Here's the thing about any kind of athletic or conditioning training or anything like that. Everybody's going to be different. Everybody's body responds differently. Maybe you are, operating at near your potential right now. Maybe you're way off from your potential, and doing some kind of training, you'll very much surprise yourself. The thing about it is you can only know if you put in the work. And if you don't put in any work, you won't get anything out of it. If you put in the work, you might get a little bit, but you might surprise yourself and you might get a whole lot more. It really is not something that we can advise you on and tell you specific numbers. That said, most people are not operating at their optimum athletic ability. Yeah. So if you put in the work, maybe 5 inches is a realistic amount in that amount of time. I don't know.
Well, I think it depends on the person too.
Yeah. So, that's what I just said, the whole thing.
I know.
So you will only know if you put in the work. 10 inches, that's a huge gain.
Really huge.
But I will say that in putting out our vertical jump videos and the vertical jump handbook, we've had people that have said that they have gotten 10 plus inches from that time period of work, that 3-month period of work. Is that typical? No. And with any kind of vertical jump training program, that would not be typical. That would be kind of a crazy outlier, but still possible. More realistic for any jump program, and it doesn't mean just ours, anything would probably be in the 3 to potentially at a higher end 6-inch vertical growth over that time period or an extended period. If you're thinking about 4 inches on your vertical jump, that is huge.
Yeah.
That is not a tiny number. That is a lot. That's moving your entire body weight up another additional 4 inches. Some people think that if they do some program, they'll suddenly get, a foot higher in their vertical. Mm-hmm. That never happens. That very seldomly happens. And you have to put in the work. There's no magic pill. Yeah. So 5 to 10 inches by December 2015, potentially, if you put in the work, you could get that. Could it potentially be just 4 inches? Maybe, but that's still great, right? That's 4 more than you had.
It really is, yeah.
And if you use a program like ours, you're not just working on your vertical jump. You are also developing your athletic ability all around.
Yes.
Your explosiveness, your speed, your quickness, your reaction time, your footwork, all of that stuff is going to benefit from that.
Right.
Plus your vertical jump.
And an important part of that vertical jump program too is using the foam rollers to roll out the muscles as you use or after you use them and before you use them. That didn't come out right. Before you work out and after you work out. One of the things that happens is that we develop adhesions in muscles, which are muscle tissue that is in a constant state of contraction. And what happens is that then tends to exclude those muscle tissues from helping us to explode upward or whatever. So the thing is that when you roll it out, you get those to relax. And now that particular
you're having more utilization of those muscles.
Well, yeah, because they relax more, and now you can use that for your
if
jumping.
a muscle is in contraction, it can't contract and do what it's supposed to do any more than it already is.
Yep.
So if you're able to release that, you've added that back into your muscular abilities. And here's the other thing too. That's major layman terms, just to explain it to you guys. Yeah. But adhesions are just like these knots. And if you're able to let those knots out, you're able to utilize that muscle that's being tied up in the knot. Okay. And the other thing too is that forget it. We're so deep into this. But here's a Snapchat from Brandino2468 who says, I watched your vertical leap series, and before I could only hit the backboard approximately 1 to 2 inches below the rim. Now that I've tried some of Shot Science's tips from the series, I'm now 1 to 2 inches above the rim within the first week of watching the videos. Thanks, Shot Science. Keep up the good work. So, I mean, that's something, that's where someone actually put in the work. And also, it brings up another point of the vertical jump stuff is that a lot of people are super they just aren't flexible. Their flexibility is just crap.
Yes.
And if you put in a little bit of work in the first week or two, sometimes you get a huge gain in your jump, maybe 3-4 inches, just because you've got your flexibility kind of put into motion, and you've been working on releasing those adhesions, and suddenly you're unlocking all this potential ability that you didn't have access to because it was tied up in just not being flexible, and also these adhesions from just muscle tension. So
just a little quick explanation, Casey, about how you gain that extra flexibility.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you go look at our vertical jump series, we have a whole kind of section that is just the dynamic stretching package, and then the foam rolling portion of that as well. So right. Go check out our vertical jump series and the vertical jump handbook. We've talked about this too much and people are just leaving right now. So we're going on to something else. Right. Okay. This one is from Victor Fong, who says, why can I shoot so well during practice, but can't perform the same in game? Okay. I'll let you do that one.
There's several reasons. Probably the first thing that comes to my mind is that you haven't practiced enough at game speed. Oftentimes what will happen is that we We're very casual about some of our practice sessions. And one of the things that's so important for us to be able to do is to take and perform at a game speed when we step into a game. And if we haven't ever practiced in that, then we're probably not going to be very effective. And so that probably is the major problem that you have, in that you can't perform very well, and your shooting does perform very, very well for you in a game situation.
Right. Here's a similar one from Lame Nathan, who's at Lame Nathan on Twitter. He says, how to shoot under pressure. I shoot well in practice, but lose it in games. Okay, so the same stuff applies to what you just said.
Exactly.
Also, I would want to tag on this because he says how to shoot under pressure.
Right.
If you were shooting contested shots, those are not good shots.
They're not shots. No.
Well, they are shots. They're just not good ones.
Not good shots.
So, you know, if you've got somebody in your face and they have their hand in your face while you're trying to shoot, and they're close enough to where you're not sure if they're going to block the shot, or you know, you're kind of, you know, a little bit stressed about the fact that they're there, that is not a good shot.
No.
A good shot is an open shot, an open look. The more open it is, the better shot it is. And that doesn't matter if you're 2 feet from the basket or 20 feet from the basket.
That's right.
You need to work more on developing your ability to create space. So if you know, you've got a guy that's playing defense on you, you're not going to try to worry about speeding up your shot and getting that quicker. You're going to worry more about having a decisive move that's going to get them off of you, or a dribble attack that's going to get them off of you, or you're going to attack the basket and find a way to draw and dish the ball to your teammates. You're just going to work more on creating space and creating open opportunities for you and your teammates.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. In fact, we would suggest that you go look at our video on what is a good shot. Very important to understand that.
Yeah. I mean, if you're just launching shots because, you know, you're trying, I don't know. It's just, contested shots are not smart. And we see that all too often.
Yeah.
People just flipping up stuff that is just not good stuff. Let's see. John Day Justice again is saying, at the moment, I'm 5'5", 120. By next basketball season, I want to be at least 140 as possible. Okay. When it comes to like adding weights and strength and stuff like that, people focus on that way too much. We can't tell you, number one, what your attributes are going to be for next season. That is not something that we know. We don't know your age. We don't know your body type. We don't know you personally. So we can't say that. I would say this. Don't focus on that at all. Those numbers are not important. What is important is your skill development and your athletic conditioning and just working on your general athleticism. Those are the things that are important. It doesn't, you know, there's people that focus so much on these weight gains and should I go in the weight room and do all this stuff. That is not going to make you the next level player. What is going to make you the next level player is skill development. If you put more effort into your skill development than focusing on should I gain 20 pounds, then you won't be in a better spot. And my guess is that you're probably a younger person. You shouldn't be worried about that stuff anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
It's too hard on your body to do a lot of that. That kind
and
of
a lot
training.
of people, a lot of people think that if they add these 20 pounds, suddenly they're going to be, you know, just an all-star superstar.
No,
doesn't happen. Skill development is what does it.
Right.
What?
Victor there has a question that I'd like to address on. Victor.
Well, then go for it.
Here.
I mean, you got to. Okay, Victor Fong says, I see this more when moving from mid to close range to the three-point line. I can shoot consistently at mid to close, but that three-point line, I see my form become more flat and can't get the arc on the ball as much as mid close.
Okay, our guess on, or my guess on this is the fact that when you move further away from the basket, you're probably, and let's call it a jump shot. If you are shooting a jump shot from a longer distance, usually what we do is we tend to hold the ball at the top of our jump. And when we hold the ball at the top of our jump before we release it, the ball almost always is short and flat.
Well, I mean,
let me finish this. The thing that you really want to do on that jump shot is, if it is a jump shot, is you want to release the ball as you are reaching the top of your jump. That way you catch the power that's generated by your legs. Go ahead, Casey.
And he's also saying that his shot is flat.
That's why it's flat. Yeah.
So you're also probably bringing your arm down or heaving it or something. I think the major key here is that your mechanics are breaking down because you have not spent the time progressively working yourself back. So when you're working on the form shooting drill, and even after you up it to game speed, game intensity, you need to make sure that you are working on that progressively back. So you're mastering the close shots there. Then you take a step back, master that, take a step back, master that. You can't go from 5 feet to 21 feet and expect that your shooting mechanics are going to be there, because they're not. You haven't worked on having the strength or the coordination or the muscle memory. It will degrade. So don't work that way. Work progressively back.
Right.
Okay. Omar Khan says, how do you keep your form consistent all the time? I see the key word in there already.
Yeah. Consistency comes from you're spending a lot of time just working on it. Okay. And as you work and develop that pattern for consistency, that's where consistency comes from.
Yep. I mean, if you don't put consistent practice in, you will not get consistent results. So that's really the key. You know, we talk about this all the time. If you put all your shooting effort and work into Monday, it's not going to be there Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
No.
So you need to make sure that you're consistently working every day. There's something that you're working on in your shooting, and you're maybe changing it up, but you're addressing your shooting form. Okay, here's another one from Lame Nathan, who is at Lame Nathan on Twitter. If you guys want your Twitter questions answered, send them to us at Shot Science. This one is from Nathan. He says, tips for building muscle. I want to try to shoot more threes from the wing. I want to try to get an arc and start jumping. Okay, several things in here that I want to address, and you're shaking your head, and I know why. So here's the thing. Building muscle it's not going to make you a better shooter.
Yeah.
That's really the issue there. What will make you a better shooter, or a shooter with deeper range, is using the form shooting drill, progressively working yourself back and learning how to innervate and efficiently get your mechanics all working. That's why, you know, when we work with people, there's, young girls and young small boys that are able to shoot from 3-point range when they don't look like they should have that ability. It's because they have worked back and they are utilizing all of their large muscle groups to be able to get the ball there. We always see people say, oh, well, if I work on my biceps or my bench press or my such and such and my arms, I'm going to be able to shoot from deeper. Most of your power should not be coming from your upper body at all. It's actually coming from your legs and the lower chain, where all of your huge muscle groups are. That is really something that you develop by doing the shooting motion over and over again and working on making it efficient.
Right. Exactly right.
And then you say you want to try to get an arc and start jumping. Well, I mean, that's how you do the 3 pillars of practice. Start doing it during the form shooting drill. You've identified that you need to get more arc on it. Make sure that your release point is higher and you're getting you're finishing with your elbow above your shooting eye. And you want to start jumping. Work on the footwork. I mean, that's really the other key is footwork. Anything that you're doing that's related to basketball or sports, footwork is the key.
Yeah.
So that would be our tip. Form shooting drill, 3 pillars of practice, consistency.
Right.
Let's see. This one is from Tori Smith, who says, hi, I'm 4'8", and is there anything I need to improve?
We can't tell from your height what kind of a player you are, so it's impossible for us to really give you an answer on that, except everything.
Yeah, I mean, that's
everything.
That's one of the key things that we tell everybody is, we get people that are always asking, I'm a point guard, what should I do? I'm a center, what should I do? I'm a perimeter player, what should I do? There was a great video that we posted on our Facebook page, I think a week or two ago, that was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And he was talking about the fact that most players today most players and coaches don't approach the game the way that they should, in that they focus just primarily on positions and on just skill development is kind of not a focus. And even skill development, there should be a focus on making all players good at all things. Post players should be able to play on the perimeter. They should be able to shoot. They should be able to make free throws. They should be able to defend. Perimeter players, they should be able to step into the post and do a post move. And they should also be able to do, the things that a perimeter player would do too, and play defense and all those things, be able to pass the ball. Everybody should be able to do everything. And if you can't do everything, you've limited yourself. You're not as valuable. Yeah. And, that's what we would say in general, if you need to improve things, is improve everything.
Absolutely. And the next question there, Casey.
And it doesn't, hold on. It doesn't matter if you're 4'8".
No.
You should be able to go into the post and do a post move on somebody, whether they are the same height as you or they are, a foot taller than you.
Yeah. And when you can do that, you usually are at a great advantage because the person who is playing against you probably has never defended in the post before, and so you're going to have difficulty.
Yeah, a lot of times matchups are a big deal in basketball. And if you, let's say you're a smaller player and you're going up against a bigger player, if you're able to play them on the perimeter, they're going to play up on you. Maybe you can be able to take them off the dribble, but you want to be able to shoot. Maybe they're going to try to take you into the post when you're playing defense, but you need to be able to guard them and playing in there too. Matchups, if you're able to kind of take the advantage yourself in those matchups, then you're going to be in a better shape.
And Andrew Collins has pretty much the same kind of.
What is the best thing to work on in my off season?
Yeah, everything.
Yeah, everything. Especially identify your weaknesses and develop those. Iowa Hawks are groovy, says, hey, boys.
Hey, Iowa Hawks.
Let's see. This one is from Iowa Hawks Groovy again. He says, I'm 5'4", 150. I'm usually the shortest guy out there, but I'm one of the toughest. Could I play varsity? Yes. I mean, Muggsy Bogues was an inch shorter than you, and he made it to the NBA. So, right. If you count yourself out, then you're out. If you don't, there's always a chance.
Yeah.
Uwat Matty says, when I shoot, I always try to get a great arc. My almost 9 degrees on the release, but my coach tells me to lower it. What should I do? 9 degrees measuring from the vertical form, not measuring about ground player relation. Okay, well, degrees aside, the thing about that's tough.
Okay, well, here's my take on that. I don't know what your coach thinks, and I'm not really sure how much 9 degrees is and what you're talking about there. But for us, we think that if you're shooting a basketball, you can't really be thinking about degrees of anything. You have to learn what the proper angle is going to best benefit you. And one of the things that we do, we have a shooting machine with the screens that surround it. Those top of those screens, we have them set so that they're just about the top of the backboard. We want to be over the nets by about 2 feet when we go over the nets, and that usually gives us a great arc. The thing is that most people don't really think about, in fact, probably very few people think about, is that the size of the rim when you have a flat shot, one that just kind of skips over the front edge, is only about 10 inches in diameter. Well, the real measurement of the basketball basket is 18 inches on the inside. And so you're shooting a much smaller target when you shoot flat.
Now,
you need to be higher, and you have a much take the ball up and just showing landing area.
I was just going to say, think about the ball having eyes. So yeah, you have your arms out like that.
Okay. And so I'm showing like a basket.
If the ball has eyes and it's coming in like this, you can see that it's seeing an oval shape. Like I'm looking at it right here, and I'm seeing an oval shape. Yeah. But if I'm coming in from a higher degree up here, I'm seeing a wide open space, and that's the area that I'm able to put the ball in. Here, look at the ball's coming. Oh, keep it there.
All right.
If the ball's coming in here, I can't utilize this space here at all because it can't go in that way unless it goes and it does some weird physics, thing, and it just bends itself down. It's not going to do that. But if it's coming in like this, you can see it doesn't have this area. But if it comes in from a higher degree of attack, it's going to have the ability to fall in there, fall in over here, fall in over there. So you're going to have more usable space.
Yeah. So I don't know what your degrees, the 9 degrees stands for, because it's not something that we relate to.
Yeah, but I would just say when you're talking about your coach, results matter.
Yeah.
So maybe your shooting is crap and he's trying to help you with that, and he's telling you things that he think is going to help. Typically, you don't want to have a lower release.
No.
Having a high release is going to give you good arc. It's also going to be able to give you kind of the ability to get it up and over everybody. I don't see having a lower release is not going to help you.
No.
So you want to have that higher release, but maybe you need to work on getting the better results, having a better shooting form and spending more time on it on your own. And if he sees that the ball's falling, he can't argue that it's not, that's bad, Yeah. Anyway, if you have more problems, let us know during the week and we can try to help you with that.
Yeah.
Send us a Snapchat or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to continue and say a video, but yeah, that's good.
Okay, here is it's Wigs in the chat says, what should I do if I'm in a slump? About a week ago, I could hit threes and everything, but now I can't. What do you think I should do? Keep shooting.
Yeah.
Also, live in the present when you're doing anything related to shooting or anything like that, because if you're worried about the shot that you last missed or the shot that you're going to miss in the future, you've already completely psyched yourself out. Yeah. So focus just on, okay, I'm shooting and it's in. I'm shooting on it's in. Every time you shoot, you should think that it's in before you release the ball. And the other thing is that you have to also realize that slumps generally even themselves out. So if you're shooting kind of crappy for a game or two, maybe the game after that you're going to shoot really well, and it all goes up and down. But if you look at yourself over time, generally you're going to be about the same no matter what.
Yeah, and one of the things that kind of happens to us too when we get a little confident, overconfident, whatnot, we develop little things in our stroke that kind of screw us up. And what you want to do is go back and maybe video yourself shooting and see if there's anything that you're doing in there that's maybe making your shot not be very efficient. And usually you can figure that out in just a few minutes, just watching yourself from video. Video yourself from the front and from the sides and even from the rear, and just look and see what's happening on the stroke, because it will identify what the problem might be for you.
Yep.
I think we've got some.
Oh yeah, we do. Let's see. This one is from D. Cray on our Google Plus Q&A. He says, I've been trying to get a good grip on the basketball when I shoot. I don't know if I should spread them wide. My offhand tends to help because lack of control.
Okay. Oh, I love this one. Okay.
Okay. Go ahead.
All right. One of the things that you want to do when you're shooting the basketball is keep the ball elevated off of the palm so that we can stick one finger in here. We get it up onto those finger pads where we have all those sensory nerves that allow us to control it.
You don't want it like that.
Right. And the thing that you want to do here when you spread your thumb out to get this off your palm is that these two fingers, the small and the small finger,
pinky,
and the thumb actually grip the basketball. We can't grip it with the other three fingers because there is nothing opposing those.
They're there, but they're not doing much.
But they can't do much. These two here give you control, and that's really important for you as far as controlling the ball. Now, let me address the other thing. My offhand tends to help cause the lack of control. You know what the offhand is probably doing is this, because this is so uniform all over the place, is that hand, and usually the thumb, as we stroke, it has a tendency for that thumb to swipe the ball and causes your rotation to be sideways rotation. It also affects the accuracy of your shot. And so if you take and watch any really good shooter, the ball comes up to the highest point that we're going to release. This hand comes off, and it essentially is a one-handed stroke.
Yeah. So what I think would be beneficial for you would be to go watch the form shooting drill video that we have.
Right.
On some of the closer shots, we have you set up so that you are shooting a one-handed shot. A lot of times people say, I can't grip the ball, or, the thing is that you can have very tiny hands. And we do this with players that are, under 10 years old, and they're able to take, a regular sized basketball and hold it like this. Because if you have the ball in the shot kind of where, the shot set point, then you should be able to just hold it like this, no problem. I can move it around up here and it's not going to fall out, because my grip with these opposing fingers is just holding it there, and it's also sitting in my hand. If I have it like this, of course it's going to fall out. But if you have it right there in that set point, you're going to be in good shape. If you add in that other hand after you've been doing it with this one-handed shooting release, you're going to be able to shoot it without having that hand influence it. Right.
Now, what I might mention here too is we have a video on that offhand, and we don't call it the guide hand. What we do is we call it the assist hand, and it is an assist to get the ball up and ready to go, and then it needs to get out of the way.
Okay, here's one from Elias Sevilla who says, how can I get a better shot? My shots are very flat. You've just identified the problem. So here's some things that will help you have a shot that is not quite so flat. Number one is finish with a higher shooting release so that your elbow is above your shooting eye. If you're finishing with your elbow down here, that means that you're pulling your hand down. You're going to have a very flat shot, right?
Yep.
The other thing is that don't shoot it off your shoulder. That's going to be another flat shot. make sure that you're having a very fluid, efficient release where you're catching the ball and coming straight up and finishing high, right?
Yep.
And you also have to observe your shot, and you've identified the problem. You have to put effort and diligence into fixing that.
Right.
You can't just shoot and keep shooting it and wonder why things are happening. You've identified the problem. Now fix it.
Yeah. And we have a video on Get Your Perfect Arc. Check that one out.
Here's one from Mega Jake 221 who says, is it possible to be small but be able to play like a postman? I'm 5'10", 130. Yeah, like we said before, you need to be able to play every position and do everything in those positions to be a valuable, solid player. If you're only focusing on one position, you will limit yourself and you might pigeonhole yourself into a problem later where, maybe you're playing behind two guys that are playing the power forward or center. And, maybe if you had the abilities, you could play on the perimeter and play the three, and you would be your first string. So be able to do everything, and you'll find yourself being able to play more and be more valuable on a team.
Right.
Let's see. This guy, Rouge Games, is saying you should always be able to put your fingers in the shot crease once you're at a full shooting form. It's all done with your fingers in the end.
Okay.
Well, I mean, no. I don't think so.
No. The ball is round. The texture of the ball gives you good control. And I have heard forever in my life how you want to get your fingers on the seams. You don't have time. No. And you don't have time to really worry about that in order for you to get a good shot and get it away cleanly.
It's a ball.
It's round. You grab a hold of it, and just the texture of the basketball makes it very easy for you to grip it with your fingers.
Some guys
don't worry about
some guys do that. They like flip the ball and they get it in the right place. I think that's a waste of time.
It is.
And if you're able to shoot grabbing the ball from any point on it, you're going to be in much better shape.
Absolutely.
And if you're constantly trying to flip it into the right place, that's not a good thing.
It's taking time that you don't want to spend.
Okay. This is from, let's see, Jay Rock, who says, hey, hello. Every coach I trained with said that defense is all about will, but in my opinion, it's not really true. You can't defend faster guys if you aren't prepared well. So my question, how do you prepare yourself to defend people smaller, faster, smarter than you? Sorry for my English. Your English was perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Those people that you're listening to, I would agree, they are not right. Footwork, again, is the most important thing.
Footwork is the key to playing defense. And now, one of the things that used to be the case is that people would take and put a 1 foot advance to the other. And then the offense side of the game says, okay, if they do that, you attack that foot. And it's really hard for you to get the feet back around. One of the things you'll find if you look at our videos, you're going to find that we have our feet a little bit more squared up to the offensive player, and it mirrors the 3-point line depending on where you are. So your feet are always squared up. That way they can't attack that foot. But the most important thing is have yourself into a good stance, not too much erect, and learn how to move your feet. One of the things that happens with footwork is that players, when they slide to stay with the offensive player, their feet come together. When their feet come together, your body elevates. What you want to do is you want to take and bring them so they're not so close together. And then we call this step drag. And what you want to do is you want to be right here and step and drag the other one in. And you never want them to be close.
Okay, this is all stuff you can find from our video, Defense 101. Yeah. I would just say that really great defenders, they can play defense without their arms or hands at all. Yeah. They, one of the keys of playing defense is beating your man to the spot. And like I said, getting there before somebody else is putting you in control, and they have to react to you. If you're waiting to react to them, you're already a step behind. So work on your footwork, beat them to the spot, and make sure that you're just staying in front of them. That's the key.
One of the keys that we talk about on defense is keep them between your knees.
Okay.
If you can keep that person between your knees, you can control where they go.
Okay, here, this is a lightning round because we only have a few minutes left. So we're going to try to buzz through some of these.
I will.
This one is from Mickey Tadik, who says, hey, coaches, I need some advice. I live in the Netherlands, and the season is not over yet. I got a couple more games. This year, I made a lot of progress with basketball, but school is really hard. My mom knows I'm getting better in basketball. She isn't supporting me in getting to the highest division. I'm now in Division 2. Is there any type of way to make her supportive? What do you think? Thanks, coaches.
Well,
school is more important than anything.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how you're going to make her happy, is to really work hard on your school. And
Well,
bring
it's more
those
important for
grades up.
you.
Well, it is, but you're going to make her happy as well.
And
she'll probably support you in both venues when you do that.
Yeah, you got to have a good balance. And, with anything, there's going to be trade-offs. So
and school is the most important.
Yeah. So, that's a tough situation, but you got to put the work in for both. Let's see. This one is from Surge, who says, I guess they're asking about positioning yourself when shooting because their coach says that they have a bad positioning or something like that. Like we said, it's all about footwork. Go check out our videos on all the things that are about shooting form, and I think you'll be in a good spot. Yeah. And like we said before, if coaches are ragging on you about things, it's probably because the results aren't there and you haven't put in the work to develop that skill yet. So, figure it out, put in the work, make it undeniable, right? Let's see here. This one is from Michael Kuzi, who says, "Hey coach, I'm 6'1" and around 170 pounds. And people are always saying I shoot awkwardly because my right hand, but it looks like I'm shooting with my left hand. Help." That's that assist hand issue.
Well, without seeing that in a video, I couldn't really help you with that. I'm sorry about that.
Well, just go check out our videos on shooting. I think that your problem is probably that you're letting your other hand influence the shot too much. Yeah. Go look at our form shooting drill video and work on the one-handed form shooting and add that assist hand in once you get that form down with the one arm.
See our video also on the assist hand and what role it should play.
Okay, Black Bison Outdoors says, what is one of the best post moves?
Oh, gosh.
We love the up and under.
Well, we do, but, it depends so much on where the defender is. If the defender is taking something away from us because they're overplaying us, then it doesn't make any difference. One of the things that we do is if you get the guy on your high shoulder, we're going to drop step them and go to the basket. If we catch them on right behind us, then we're probably going to use a spin move and go to the basket one side or the other. So it kind of depends on where is the defender and what kind of defender are they.
Yeah. So go check out our videos on the post moves. We have a series of them on there. And like we said, have a counter. Andrew Collins asks, what's our Snapchat? It's just Shot Science, all one word. SHOTSCIENCE. The Q Baller tweet 2690 says, where would you suggest beginning an off-season training program for the big men on a high school basketball team? Our bigs are very undersized vertically and muscle-wise. For example, our biggest player is 6'3" and 140. And they get pushed around under the boards regardless of how aggressive they box out. Would you recommend using your vertical jump program or general mass building program? Thanks. Okay. We would obviously suggest our vertical jump program because it helps with all around athleticism, strength, power, all those things. I would not put, young guys like that on any kind of mass building or muscular building thing at all. And that's coming from somebody that works out every day at the gym and has for a long time. I just don't think it's beneficial. These are growing people. I think that the best thing you can do is help them with footwork, help them learn about leverage, and positioning. If I'm 6'2", I should be able to box out a guy that's a foot taller than me. Yeah. And that should be all about leverage, positioning, and footwork. And the same thing should be true for these guys. It doesn't matter if they weigh 100 pounds less than the guys they're going up against. They should be able to box that guy out with positioning. And it's all about the closeout, sealing the legs, getting low, getting your butt into somebody. If you get your butt into some guy's leg, good luck for that guy trying to jump or move or whatever. And one of the things that we teach when we do box outs is to get the arms out like this, because elbows are sharp and they suck to get stuck into your chest or try to move around. If you get your arms out like this, that guy has to battle around those pokey things, and that's not fun. He can't jump because you got your butt into his leg and you're pushing into him and getting leverage against him. And so, there's so many things you can do. Mass gaining programs, even if you turn that guy into Arnold Schwarzenegger, it doesn't make him a better player.
No.
Skills make you a better player, right?
Absolutely. Okay. I'm big on the gym training too.
Yeah, it's all about skills. Okay, I'm going to take one more question here if this thing loads up. Let's see here. Well, Kevin Muck is asking, what's the secret of the floater? We have a video on the floater. Go check out our tutorial on YouTube.
Yeah.
Let's see. Selena Gomez says, we're stupid. Thanks.
Thanks, Selena.
Haven't
had a compliment like that all day.
That's not the real Selena Gomez. Let's see here. Okay. The Derek person 123 says, is it bad if I go off the wrong foot on my left-hand layup? How do I correct myself?
Well, you know,
there's two things to that, I think.
Well, yeah, part of it is just more efficient for you to get off the correct foot. And the other thing is it depends on which hand you're using. We really teach everybody to go outside hand on the right side as well as inside hand. And so they have to learn how to go off of one foot and the other on the same side of the basket. But it's just efficiency more than anything else.
Yeah, okay. Well, here's the thing. It's about that. You should be able to go outside hand and inside hand, outside foot and inside foot on both sides of the basket doing layups. It's all about footwork. Break everything down. Don't even put a dribble down. Work on the footwork of that. Slow it down and then build up speed as you get better at it. And the other thing is that
a video on that.
We do. We have layups 101 and then lay in run up drill.
Yeah.
But also consider the fact that you need to use your body to keep it in between the defender and the ball.
Right.
So if you're able to do that, by using the right footwork and getting it off the right hand, then you will be in good shape. But also you can change it up by being able to slip through and doing, an inside hand layup as well. Okay, so I think that's going to do it for us today, you guys. If we missed your question, it's not because we didn't like you. It's because we just ran out of time. We are around all week to answer your guys' questions, and we are at different places like Twitter. We are at Shot Science. We are on Facebook where you can hit us up there. We are on Google+. We also have YouTube, and you can follow us on YouTube and make sure you're subscribed so you can see all of our new videos and stuff. If you have a question, a great place to put that would be find the relevant YouTube video. So if you have a question about shooting layups, find our layup videos, ask the question there, and we will try to get back to you as soon as we possibly can. And also, we are on Snapchat, and we are putting stuff up constantly on there. So make sure that you're following us there because we have guest coaches on there that are posting not only stuff about us, but they're posting their training, their drills, their tips, and we're going to have more guests on there as well. So follow us on Snapchat, and we might even answer your questions there if you send us some snaps, okay? Right. So let's see. I think that does it for this week, you guys. Make sure you're back next week, 1 p.m. Pacific time on Sunday. We'll have a new topic, and you can ask your questions then. Do you have anything else?
Nope. Thanks for joining us again today. That's great.
All right, you guys. Catch you later. Bye.